Hey guys, it's Fire Force Doggo again, and there's nothing you can do about it. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a dark time. Time full of evil. No, it's not when the furry convention comes to town. It's World War II. And specifically, I'm going to be looking at some of the more unusual bolt-action rifles used during the war. This was something that was suggested to me by one of my subscribers. I thought it was a great idea, so I'm going to take a look at four in particular, as you'll see on the table there. A little background: with the exception of the U.S. Army, pretty much every armed force in the war used some kind of bolt action. The 1903, the Enfield, Car 98, Type 99, Carcarno, whatever. A couple of these rifles were pretty good for their time, and they spawned some kind of specialist use variant that was for a particular purpose. Some were official, some were field mods, but they all stood out for one reason or another. This first one I'm going to be looking at is the Enfield Number 5 Mark I, or as it's better known, the Jungle Carbine. It was first built in '44, and it was meant to be a modification of the standard Number 4 Mark I Enfield, but for use by airborne troops. As you can see here, the standard action and the buttstock and all of that are pretty close to the regular Enfield, but that recoil, or the flash suppressor and the recoil butt pad on it are different. They were designed to well, the rubber butt pad at least was designed to mitigate recoil, but the gun, because it was lighter and still fired the 303 round, and because of that flash suppressor, actually had more recoil than the standard Lee. Um, Not only that, but it had a lot of problems apparently with what they call wandering zero, where it couldn't hold um, its zeroing, so it wasn't considered very accurate. There's some debate about that in the gun community, and some people think the Brits just wanted an excuse to stop making it because they wanted a gun like the FAL. Despite that, it did see some use in Korea, even in the Bangladesh War of Independence in 1971, presumably by Pakistani police or rebels. But it really found its niche among the more close infighting of the Malaya Emergency right after World War II. There, the smaller, lighter, more maneuverable weapon was better suited to the environment than the full-size Lee-Enfield, but most troops probably did their best still to try and secure something like the Owen SMG or M1 Carbine because of its reputation. An H3 VR, it's not bad. I fired this gun at 25 meters as opposed to 15 like the other guns you're going to see here. They all were in all the shots were in the basically the right area that I was trying to shoot. A couple within the first three rings, a couple more were a little farther out. It's not a bad gun. It's just kind of doesn't stand out very well, and as opposed to all the other um, bolt actions that you see in the game. Just as a point of comparison, I'm using the standard or number 4 Mark 1 here at the same range, just to give you an idea of the difference in accuracy. Not necessarily in real life, but at least in H3VR. Although it stands to reason that the number 4 would be more accurate with a longer barrel and perhaps the shooter not flinching because of that heavier than expected recoil like they're going to get on the Jungle Carbine. Um, as with every other gun that I'm shooting in these videos, or this pair of videos, I should say, I'm firing 10 rounds as sort of a baseline just to see how each of the guns shapes up in comparison to the others. Um, the Lee-Enfield number 4, as expected, is more uh, accurate than the Jungle Carbine. You can see a lot more in those first three rings. Couple outliers farther out, but still everything in the gray zone where you want to be. Next, I'm going to be talking about strange modification, and there's not a whole lot of history on these. This is called, at least in H3 VR and more colloquially, it's referred to as an Enfield Obrez. Obrez is a Russian word for cut down. As you can obviously see here, the buttstock and barrel have been severely chopped, although it does retain obviously the basic characteristics of the Enfield, since that's the gun that it's made from. It uses the same magazine and stripper clips as you see here as the regular Lee-Enfield and the Jungle Carbine, but it's obviously much shorter, and it's actually categorized as a pistol in the game. I took a couple different stances with this one. One was a supported standing, as you can see here, where I'm just folding over my shooting arm over my offhand to kind of brace it, and that did okay. Another technique that I tried was doing the basically holding it with both hands at arm's length, as I would imagine you would need to do with the real one, just because of the massive recoil of such a large round and such a short rifle. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of history about these, but there is some circumstantial evidence that they might have been used in some form or fashion. And obviously, each one of these would have been individualized. These were never an official version of the rifle, but they might have been modified to be tunneler rifles or trench raid rifles by the British in World War One. A lot of the available evidence really suggests that pistols and stuff like that were much more common, but as you can see here, the accuracy is not bad. I think those outliers are more from me either trying to two-hand it and just not lining things up properly, or when I just fired it one-handed, which honestly I don't even know if you could do in a real situation. So that's the quick video for today, and I will be back with the Mosin Nagant Obrez and the Delisle Carbine soon, which was a very interesting Enfield-based silenced rifle, which a lot of you guys have probably heard of. As always, smash that like and subscribe button, and make sure you contribute to my Patreon, because just because I enjoy free content doesn't mean you should. I'll talk to you guys then.